that increases the chances of the thrombosis during the pregnancy. Now, inherited, there can be antithrombin 3 deficiency, there can be protein C deficiency, or there can be resistance of protein C. Secondly, there can be protein S deficiency, factor 5 late mutation. All these which you studied in your chapter of the coagulation in the physiology as well as pathology. Now, acquired. What we are getting clinically, the cases of the acquired, that is antiphospholipid syndrome, like patient is giving a history of repeated abortion. Patient is giving a history of IUD before 34 weeks. Patient is giving a history of severe eclampsia or a case of earlier eclampsia. In those cases, if she is a case of bad obstetric history, and if we are suspecting and she can be candidate of antiphospholipid, in those cases we will go for lupus anticoagulant and anticardiolipin test during the pregnancy, and we repeat it during first trimester of the pregnancy or before pregnancy, and we repeat this test 2 times at a difference of 6 weeks. If these tests come out to be positive in these cases, then she is a candidate of antiphospholipid syndrome. And in these cases, because there are the chances of thrombosis at all level, even at placental vessels, there are chances of severe preeclampsia or eclampsia development. There are chances of severe IUGR. In these cases, we start the treatment with the low molecular weight heparin or unfractionated heparin and ecosprin starting from the first trimester of the pregnancy. Antiphospholipid antibody syndrome, which are just iron. These are the circulating antibodies to negatively charged phospholipid. These include lupus anticoagulant antibody and anticardiolipid antibody. Antiphospholipid syndrome, that is if you are getting positive test of one of the antibody plus a history of arterial or venous thrombosis with or without any obstetric complication. We can use this triad if she's getting these tests positive, or she is having giving the history of this plus with or without any obstetric complication. What can be the obstetric complication? Obstetric complication can be in form of multiple abortions, that can be in form of severe preeclampsia, that can be in form of severe IUGR. Now, what will be the treatment? What treatment? If patient just came with pulmonary embolism in shock condition, then in these cases only you will go for thrombolytic therapy. Generally, we do not recommend thrombolytic therapy during pregnancy, and we very rarely get such type of pulmonary embolism during pregnancy. We are getting these patients in the postpartum period, where a timely diagnosis you can use thrombolytic you can use thrombolytic therapy in form of streptokinase and tissue plasminogen activator. Now, what anticoagulants you used? Either you can use N-fractionated heparin, or either you can use fractionated, that is the low molecular heparin. In the acute phase, we are using N-fractionated in therapeutic dose, that is 40,000 international unit per day. We are using it through we can give it through IV infusion for 3 to 7 days, and we can monitor by activated plasma thromboblastin time the level, whether we are giving it in we have to increase our dose or we have to decrease our dose. We can monitor our treatment by measuring this APTT level, that should be between 1.5 to 2.5 times of the normal. Now, if a patient of like we have to use any anticoagulant for long-term period, like if patient is of heart disease with mechanical valve replacement, then in these cases, if we can use for a long term, then after first trimester we can start with the warfarin. Generally, we are avoiding warfarin the first trimester and after 36 weeks. During first trimester and after 36 weeks, we are using the heparin. In between, we can use warfarin, and we can monitor this because we can give warfarin in the oral form. For heparin, we have to unfractionate it. We have to use by IV infusion or subcutaneous. Warfarin, we can measure the warfarin dose by INR. We can measure prothrombin time, and we can measure INR in the lab. That is international normalized ratio. That should be between 2 to 3. And by taking this target, we can increase the dose. We can start with 2 mg, then 4 mg, then 6 mg. And if level should be between 2 to 3 of the INR. Then duration, generally it acts within the 3 days. So we are just covering if a patient is on the heparin during the pregnancy. And in the postpartum period, like in the puerperium, we want to shift over the oral dose like warfarin or oral anticoagulant on the warfarin. Then we can cover with the heparin for 48 to 72 hours, so that till the heparin effects start coming after 3 days, uh, we can cover with heparin, and after 3 days there will be action of the warfarin. Now, what can be the side effects of the warfarin? Embryopathy can be there. There can be chondroplasia punctata, like stippling of bones, peripheral bones stippling can be there. Nasal hypoplasia can be there, and there are the increased chances of the labor and premature labor. We have to tell all these things to the patient, so we are avoiding warfarin during the first trimester, because that can cause the embryopathy, that can cause having the teratogenic effects. Now, thromboprophylaxis in pregnancy. We have to go for risk assessment. We have to make the risk assessment during early pregnancy state, like the when any patient come to us for the pre-pregnancy for counseling, ki how she is a high risk factor, what drug she should start, when she should start. If she is coming, then we can make out a chart by calculating a high risk factor, and we can make whether the patient is in the high risk group, medium risk group, or low risk group. Or if she is getting admission, if she is admitted in the hospital for preterm labor pain, in the labor pain, then we can calculate at that time. Or if we can calculate in the postpartum period also, we can make the risk assessment. And after making the risk assessment, if risk factors are more than 4, then we can go for thromboprophylaxis throughout the pregnancy. If risk factors are less, we can start after 28 weeks, because the compression or stresses increases after 28 weeks. And if risk factor are 2 or less, then we can start during the postpartum period, which is the maximum hypercoagulability state. Then, because the stresses, patient generally used to lie down after the cesarean, these things. And if chances of infection are there, so the chances of DVT and pulmonary embolism are maximum during first 7 to 10 days. So we can give the thromboprophylaxis for 10 days in the postpartum period. While calculating the risk factor, we can make out whether we have to give through whole pregnancy, we have to start in the third trimester, or we can give the thromboprophylaxis in the postpartum period. And up to which time we have to give? Up to 6 weeks. If we start in the pregnancy, then we will continue up to 6 weeks. Which agents are used for thromboprophylaxis? We already discussed, either heparin, that is unfractionated, or low molecular weight. Because what are the advantages of heparin? Because this heparin does not cross the placenta, or causing the either fetal anticoagulation or either embryopathy chances, or teratogenic chances are less with the heparin. Because it does not cross, it does not causes by the warfarin, there are the chances of embryopathy. So we are avoiding the warfarin. Secondly, we are safe in the breastfeeding, and low molecular heparin can be the agent of choice. Why? Because in unfractionated heparin, we have to give more dosage, it having the short half life, so we have to repeat the doses 2 to 3 times. While in low molecular weight, because the half life is more, then we can give the dose a single time, we can use it, low molecular weight heparin. But in some cases, we prefer unfractionated, where there are increased chances, where there can be chances of any kidney damage. In those cases, we use unfractionated. In other cases, we can use the low molecular weight heparin. Unpreferred, with increased chance of hemorrhage, we already discussed. Unfractionated heparin is cheap, shorter half-life, subcutaneous you can give, or you can give IV during therapeutic phase. When we are using infusion, then you can give IV. Otherwise, you can use in the subcutaneous form. Secondly, it can be, what are other benefit? It can be reversed rapidly. Like any patient is on unfractionated heparin, and we have to go for the normal. If she is coming the labor pain, or we have to take the cesarean, then it reverses back very rapidly as compared to low molecular weight heparin. Secondly, what can be the side effect? Heparin-induced thrombocytopenia can be the side effect. If we are using it more than 3 to 6 months, chances of bone loss can be there, and it needs monitoring with the help of APTT. it decrease we have to go for platelet count, as in already discussed, the heparin induced thrombocytopenia is there. Then we have to go for basic platelet count, and after 2-3 weeks or weekly we can repeat the platelet count, so that we can make out whether thrombocytopenia can be there due to heparin or any other factor can be present. Then unfractionated preferred in the patient with the renal deficiency and where chances of hemorrhage are more, then it is preferred. While low molecular weight heparin, what are the benefits over unfractionated heparin? Is this is easy to administer, that is long half life. You have to give less doses as compared to unfractionated heparin. Now coming to the warfarin, generally avoided as it crosses the placenta. It causes embryopathy, fetal anticoagulation, chances of intracranial hemorrhage are there. It considered only generally for those women where higher risk of the thrombosis due to mechanical cause. Now, in cases of DVT, you can use anti-embolism stocking, or you can use anti-embolism stocking in patient who goes for prolonged surgeries, who advise prolonged rest. Then in these cases, we can use for these stocking so that embolus chances reduced. Now, what thromboprophylaxis you during labor? What we should do if patient is taking unfractionated lower or either low molecular weight heparin, or she is taking warfarin, what we should do during the labor? If thromboprophylaxis she is taking and patient comes to you with vaginal bleeding, or if patient comes to you with labor pain, then you should stop this thromboprophylaxis. If planned, we are planning any elective cesarean section, then regional technique like epidural catheter and spinal we should avoid for at least 12 hours after the prophylactic dose of the low molecular and 24 hours after therapeutic. We know as prophylactic dose is less and therapeutic is more, then we should avoid regional technique, spinal and epidural anesthesia for at least 12 hours and 24 hours. And if you are using unfractionated heparin, in those cases you can use after 6 hours of the prophylactic dose and 12 hours of the therapeutic dose. If we use the epidural catheter for the liver analgesia, then this epidural catheter should not be removed within 12 hours of the recent injection. If you have given the injection, then it should be removed after 12 hours. When to initiate thromboprophylaxis postnatally? If we are initiating, then again, if a patient in low molecular weight heparin or unfractionated, or if we are giving the prophylaxis for the first time, then after vaginal delivery, we can start it after 6 to 12 hours. If there is no PPH or no epidural we already used, or in cases of cesarean section, we should start after 12 to 24 hours. Rejection of patient receiving antenatal prophylaxis can be earlier. Like these are the patient in which we are using first time thromboprophylaxis, high risk factor in which we are using in the postpartum first time. And if patient is already using during the pregnancy, then we can use after the 6 hours after the vaginal delivery and after 12 hours in case of cesarean section. Now to summarize, all the women should undergo risk assessment for venous thromboembolism in the pregnancy, in early pregnancy or pre-pregnancy state, when she is coming for the pre-pregnancy counseling. And we have to reassess these cases during the admission time, during delivery time, and during the postpartum time. Then low molecular weight and fractionated can be used for the thromboprophylaxis. Low molecular weight heparin is effective, easy to administer. We already discussed, given in the dose of 40 milligrams subcutaneous once a day, while the unfractionated require the more dose, multiple doses, and it does not require any monitoring, while the unfractionated require the monitoring in the form of APTT. Starting, we have to date every 2 to 3, and then after then we can use it weekly or bi-weekly.